This is Software Engineering and Design class. And this class will be uploaded in online, and to do your homework, you have to see and understand the content of this lecture, and then I think it will be helpful for doing your second assignment of the project. Okay, today's class issue is object-oriented design. Okay, object is the key to understanding object-oriented programming language. Okay, it has two elements: state and behavior. And for understanding object, we have to understand the real-world object first. Okay, for example, there's dog or bicycle, and it has some kind of state like the dog's name and color, breed, is hungry. That is state. Any object has kind of state. The state is the thing we recognize about something. Okay, like a name or color, breed, or something. For bicycle, maybe maker or type of bicycle, or current speed, pedal cadence. Cadence is kind of something. Cadence is kind of something you running, like a pedal speed. Okay, when you press something, then pedal is changed like this way. Okay, this speed, this speed is a pedal cadence. Okay, and each object has its own behavior. Like for dog, it's barking, wagging a tail, eating. It is kind of behavior. Okay, for bicycle case, changing gear, applying brake, changing pedal cadence, it's behavior. Okay. So, 객체에 대해서 먼저 이해를 해야 되는데, 객체는 우리가 추상화된 개념으로 우선 생각을 할 필요가 있습니다. 추상화된 개념이라는 것은 바로 뭐냐면, 우리가 뭔가 인식을 할 때, 당연히 어떤 물체나 사물이 있으면은, 복잡하겠죠, 내부적으로. 또 구조도 있을 테고, 뭐, 물성도 있을 테고, 여러 가지 내용들이 있을 텐데, 그런 부분들 우리가 다 신경 쓰지 않아요. 우리가 어떤 물체를 인식할 때는 일부분만을 인식할 텐데, 그 일부분을 우리는 스테이트라고 하고요. 그리고 뭐 어떤 객체가 어떤 행동을 하든지 아니면 어떤 상태 변화가 있을 거예요. 뭔가를 할 거예요. 뭔가 하는 것을 비해버라고 정의를 합니다. 이건 추상화된 과정으로 객체에 있는 일부분을, 전체를, 굉장히 복잡하고 내용도 많을 텐데 그 중에 일부분만으로 뭔가 객체를 인식을 하게 됩니다. 그걸 추상화된 내용 결과물이 스테이트와 비헤이버 이렇게 되는 거죠. In that case, then now we are talking about the object in software. Like when we are saying about the object, or when we are talking about this kind of thing, okay, then we have object, okay, and in software, in object is similar to real world object. So it has state and it has behavior. It's kind of abstract level of recognizable thing, recognition, or abstract level of understanding of something. Okay, so when we try to understand the object in real world, we first identify state of object like a name or breed or type, and this object has several behavior, and we recognize only a few of them. Okay, So object can be abstracted into state and behavior. Likewise, in the object in software has state and behavior. And in other words, we call behavior as a method and state as a field. And method is something about the method is function, okay? In programming, okay. Also, field is a variable, okay. So object in our software is similar to real-world object, and it has state named field or attribute and behavior named method. Okay. In function, when we are talking about the C++ or C language, we say function. But when you're talking about object-oriented language like Java or Python or any other object-oriented language, when we are saying about when you are saying about function, then we are saying the name will be method. Okay. So in object in software, in here bicycle example, it has state like current speed, cadence, gear level. That is state. Okay. That is state. That is state. And change gear, apply brake, change cadence will be behavior. Okay. This will be behavior. Okay. So this is a real object. But in programming language, in class has method and behavior, has a state and behavior that is called variable and method. Okay. Okay. So in object in software, it has a two things in one class, that is object and method. Okay, and by defining variable and by defining method, we have one class. In this class, we are talking about real bicycle, and in this way, this is about bicycle class, and this is written in Java language. Okay. And so once we define classes in Java language or any other object-oriented language, then next time we can do is we can use this kind of language. Okay. So first thing you have to do is first create instance of object, and by new method instance of an first. Okay. Once you have creating instance, then you now have one instance named as my bike. That is instance. Okay. Once you have instance of bicycle class, then next step is to using the method of instance. And the way to method is just you call the name of instance and call the method. Okay, you define it in bicycle object. So third thing is like this. Um, okay, and here is one example. My bike dot get speed, change cadence, my bike dot change gear. And this instance method can have multiple type of parameters, okay? So likewise, you're doing in Java or C or C++ language, okay? So the method has its own parameter and may have some return thing, okay? So this is how to once you define classes, then you can use it by creating instance first and calling method of the class, okay? That's how to build, how to use the software in object-oriented way, okay? So there is an advantage in using object. That means why we are doing in object-oriented programming, okay? First one is modularity. Codes are made independent from other objects. Look at this example here. Here, within one class, you have variable and method. They are packaged into one class. Okay, so that means method and variable are packaged in one module. That increase modularity. Okay. Okay. Also, information hiding. That means in this case, there's private and public. Private means this variable will be changed with only their own method. Okay. In public, that is called or changed in any other place of the whole system. Okay. So that makes that will include information hiding. Okay. And because some variables will not be used or changed from outside of source code, only it allows only object method calling. Okay, so um, so so internal details remains hidden. Okay, also because this is modular, so it's easy to reuse them. Okay, just copy and paste, that will be fine. In C language, there's no object-oriented languages, so there's method, there's a routine or main function. So when we copy some method or some function from C language, we have to see that is enough, okay? Enough. Maybe there's some global variable or some variable will be shared by function. In this case, we have copy all of them. But in object-oriented language, everything is packaged into one class. Okay, so copying the class will be fine in most cases. In case you do not use any global variable, then it's fine. Just copy paste, that is fine. Okay, so it will help for code reusing. Okay, also because this is modular, so something problematic, then simply removing it without thinking inside of other part. Just because everything is working inside of one object, one class. So if something bad thing happen, then just look at this file, look at this class. Okay, do not have to go outside of class. Okay, so that increase pluggability and debugging characteristic. Okay, so that is why many people recommend to implement some software system using object-oriented language. Okay, so but in this case we have to think about some concept, okay, about class object. So class, there is some nature class and object instance. Okay, class is a blueprint. In other words, that's the source code. Object is concept class. Okay, instance is actual thing loaded in memory computer used by the system. Okay, so there's some difference here, but this kind of definition is in some textbook confused using the class and object and instance. And some textbooks say class is just concept, object is a real thing that is loaded and used by system. But in this class, but there is some different opinion about defining class and object. But in this class, class is just I'm going to say that class is just a blueprint, just a source code. Okay, object is a concept level, the characteristic or behavior or method, something that is object. And instance is the actual thing that is unloaded and created, unloaded and used in system memory. Okay. So here is the example. As I told you before, it's a similar example, bicycle example. This is variable, this is method. Okay. This is a method. Okay. So, but in this case, there's no public or no private thing in here. So because no public, no private thing in here, okay, so this variable or this method will be called and changed from inside of some file, class file, okay. But if this guy is defined in as a public private, then this variable will be changed only by the method defined within the class, okay. So no other class outside of this bicycle class cannot change or modify or store something. Okay, so public private is kind of a level of restriction to changing or modifying some variable. Okay, some values in variable. Okay, so here is creating using class. As I told you before, you have to first create instance here, okay, by using new keyword, okay, and then once you have instance, then calling method like this. This is instance name, this is dot, and this is a method name, this is a parameter, and then you ask some work for the class, okay. So change the cadence, speed up, and by asking someone, by giving some work to the class is doing, learning something, and finally you will get desired result. Okay. So this is how to create and using the class. It's very simple. Okay. But in this case, in object-oriented has without this kind of abstraction or modularity, object-oriented class has another characteristic called inheritance. So because everything is inside of method or inside of a class, so by creating several by creating something, then maybe we may have several different type of classes. But in this case, for example, mountain bike, road bike, tandem bike, for example, we are creating 3 bike system, but because this is naturally bike, and only a few of things will be different, okay, for the among these bike type, okay. So many things is similar and a few things different. In this case, we have to maintain, if we maintain 3 files, 3 class file, then we may have trouble to managing this kind of thing when we need to change some part of source code, okay. So in this case, by using inheritance, we can make some other way, like if common thing will be stored in here, okay, and different thing will be stored here among all the type of bikes, okay. Okay, so to maintain this kind of thing, we are using inheritance, okay. So in inheritance, if we are building a system in object-oriented system, naturally we may have classes that has shared some common characteristic, like a mountain bike, road bike, tandem bike, this bike system. So that means when we are building object oriented system, we may have classes, the object with have similar object, like mountain, road, okay, and mountain and all these bikers share several things together, okay, and all have their own things also, okay. So in this case, by using inheritance, shared common things can be managed in one class object, while different things can be managed separate in the okay. So here is the example here. In class bicycle, mountain bike, road bike, and extend bicycle. That means extend bicycle means bicycle class have common thing, and this guy has its own field and method, like here. Okay. So this is one characteristic of instance. Okay. So this is inheritance. Okay, so because object-oriented system is talking about object in real world or in software world, and you have to create object for your own purpose. But by nature of object-oriented language, you have to make lots of similar objects. Okay, like a mountain bike, road bike, tandem bike. So that means you must maintain, and you must maintain this kind of similar object. But when you need to modify this object, then you have touch control every similar object, and that could make some mistake, that make very tedious work and boring work and make mistakes. So common thing, you're creating one class, and the class has common thing, and the other class has different thing, their own thing, okay, own field, using extend keyword. That is inheritor. Okay, and there's one more characteristic, interface. Interface is kind of thing, collection of a method. Okay, interface is a collection of method. Okay, so it allows class to become more formal. That means once you define interface, that means you have to implement this kind of method. So if you define one interface, okay, so here is one example here. Once you define like this, okay, you define interface, okay, then later when you implement a class inheriting the interface, you have to create all the methods defined in the interface. Okay, so that is it. So here is bicycle, here is implement interface. Okay, so you define interface first, then later maybe this guy forces to implement something like this. So that means you make this interface and you define a class Acme bicycle, implement bicycle, then programmer must implement all the method here. Okay, so this remind class implemented as before like this. Okay, so this is kind of interface. Interfaces work as a kind of contract. So like when you doing when you are making some contract, then you have to fulfill it. Okay, interface like this. You define interface first, and you define someone define like this. Then you must implement all this method. Okay, your own language. Okay. So that is interface. Okay. 네, 우선 클래스에 대한 설명을 좀 할게요. 클래스에 대한 설명하면은 클래스는 뭐 그렇게 어렵진 않아요. 여러분들이 다 알고 있을 거라 보고요. 왜냐면 자바 랭귀지 했으니까. 클래스를 하기 위해서 클래스 먼저 정의하고 그 다음에 클래스의 인스턴스를 만들고 그 다음에 클래스의 인스턴스의 메소드를 호출하는 식으로 뭔가 일을 진행합니다. 이게 바로 객체지향 언어의 어떤 특징이에요. 특징. 보통 여러분들이 C 언어를 생각하면은 명령어를 쭉 쓰는 거예요. 명령어를 쭉 실행을 해왔다면은 C 언어에서 허용된 명령어거나 아니면 여러분들이 함수로 만든 명령어거나 그런 걸 쭉 명령을 실행하는 거예요. 명령을 실행하는 저거 돼 있다면은 객체지향에서는 명령어라는 게 함수라는 게 클래스 안에 내재돼서 개발을 하기 때문에 그래서 뭔가 명령을 실행하는 방법은 인스턴스를 만들고 인스턴스에 메소드로 호출하는 식으로 진행하는 게 바로 이 클래스에 대한 내용입니다. 그리고 그렇게 하다 보니까 이네리턴트라는 게 나오는데, 이네리턴트라는 건 뭐냐면은 처음에 뭐 클래스를 만들게 되면은 여러 가지 다양한 클래스들이 나올 수밖에 없어요. 뭐 만들다 보면은 그렇게 다양한 클래스들이 나올 수밖에 없는데, 너무 많죠. 근데 이 클래스는 상당 부분을 공유하고 있고요. 같은 부분을 공유하고 있고, 상당 부분은 뭐 공유하지 않는 부분도 있고요. 타입이 다르니까. 근데 기본적으로 공유하는 부분이 있고 공유하지 않는 부분들이 있는데, 그렇다고 공유하고 있는 부분들 코드를 수정하거나 뭐 고치거나 할 경우에는 문제가 생깁니다. 왜냐면 다 고쳐야 되니까. 그러다 보면 실수가 나올 수도 있고 또 일도 많아지기도 해요. 그래서 공유하고 있는 부분은 따로 떼서 보관하자는 거죠. 다 같이 공유하고 있는 클래스, 비슷비슷한 클래스를 여러 개 만들게 되는데, 클래스를 만들게 되면은 여러 개 만들게 되는데, 그 비슷비슷한 클래스들 중에 일부를 공유한 비슷한 부분들을 따로 떼서 관리하자는 게 이너리턴스다라고 보면 되겠습니다. 이너리턴스. 네, 그 다음에 인터페이스라고 나오는 게, 인터페이스는 뭐냐면은 처음에 메소드부터, 인터페이스는 메소드만 있는 거예요. 다른 건 없어요. 오직 메소드만 있는 건데, 인터페이스를 하는 이유는 뭐냐면 처음에 메소드를 정의해요. 이러이러한 메소드를 쓰겠다 정의를 하고, 그리고 어떤 클래스를 정의할 때 이렇게 임플리멘트 식으로 정의를 하게 되면은 그 내용은 뭐냐면은 이 메소드에 있는 내용을 모두 구현을 해야 된다는 강제하는 효과가 있습니다. 그래서 계약서 같은 느낌이에요. 여러분들이 어떤 물건을 사든 일을 하든 계약을 하게 되면 계약서에 도장을 딱 찍게 되는데, 계약서에 도장을 찍죠. 도장을 찍게 되는데, 문제는, 도장을 찍죠. 도장을 찍게 되는데, 문제는 여러분들이 도장을 찍으면 그 일을 해야 되죠. 마찬가지로 인터페이스를 만들고 어떤 클래스가 이렇게 상속이나 형태로 임플리멘트라고 되어 있는데, 임플리멘트 식으로 되면은 여러분들은 요거를 임플리멘트라고, 구현하다라는 뜻이잖아요. 임플리멘트가 구현을 다 해야 됩니다. 여기에 바로 인터페이스다라고 보면 되겠습니다. 네, 그리고 이제 패키지라는 거 있는데, 패키지는 그냥 여러 개의 클래스를 뭐 폴더로 저장하는 게 패키지고요. 네, 네.